First contact and consequences. The Valari Collective prided itself on being the most methodical species in known space. Their crystalline neural networks processed data with perfect precision. Their society operated like a finely tuned machine, and their predictions of galactic events had proven accurate for over 10,000 years, until they met humans. Supreme Analyzer Case Van 447 hovered before the Grand Assembly, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's soft light into rainbow patterns across the gathered representatives. The data streams she was processing caused ripples of blue light to pulse through her faceted body. Esteemed members of the collective, her harmonic voice resonated through the chamber. I present concerning findings regarding species designation. Human. She projected a holographic display showing an unremarkable yellow star and its third planet. This primitive world has achieved something unprecedented in our records. They have progressed from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary faster-than-light travel in merely 3 centuries. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the assembly. Such rapid advancement defied all known models of technological progression. Several crystalline forms shifted color in agitation. Impossible, declared Elder Analyst Meyer Wren 891. Your data must be corrupted. No species can advance at such a rate without destroying themselves. Kiss Van 447's form pulsed red with certainty. The data is verified across multiple observation points. Not only have they achieved this advancement, but they have done so while maintaining multiple competing governmental systems, ideologies, and cultures. They thrive on chaos in a way that defies our understanding. The holographic display shifted to show various human achievements. Massive orbital habitats, terraforming projects on Mars, mining operations throughout their asteroid belt. Each image caused more distress among the assembled Valari. Most concerning is their response to obstacles. Kais Van 447 continued. When faced with limitations, humans consistently find ways to circumvent them. They do not accept the natural order of things. They alter it to suit their needs. What do you propose? Asked the High Coordinator, their massive crystalline form dominating the chamber center. We must contain them. Now, while they are still confined to their solar system, their way of thinking, their chaos, it could destabilize everything we have built. The mathematical models are clear. If humans spread into the galaxy, the perfectly ordered system we have maintained for millennia will become unpredictable. A High Coordinator's form shifted through various colors as they processed this recommendation. To contain an entire species, this has not been done since the Great Ordering, 10,000 years ago. The energy expenditure would be enormous. The cost of not containing them would be higher, Kais Van 447 insisted. Their chaos will spread. Already, our observers report other species taking interest in human methods, questioning the natural order we have established. The debate raged for what humans would consider days, the Valari analyzing every possible outcome with their crystalline precision. Finally, a consensus was reached. Humanity would be contained, their expansion halted for their own good and the good of galactic order. The Valari deployed their containment fleet with mathematical precision. Energy barriers would be established at the edge of the Sol system, preventing human ships from accessing hyperspace. Trade would be restricted, information flow controlled. Everything was calculated to perfection. What they failed to calculate was the human response to being caged. The first containment ship arrived at the edge of the Sol system, its crystalline structure gleaming in the starlight. It began generating the energy barrier exactly as planned, exactly on schedule. And then something impossible happened. The humans were waiting. Not with warships or weapons, but with something far more dangerous. Curiosity. A small research vessel approached the containment ship, broadcasting on all frequencies. Unknown vessel, this is the TSS Hawking. We are conducting scientific observations of your energy field generation. The effects on local space-time are fascinating. We have some theories about how you're managing to create such a stable barrier. Would you be interested in comparing notes? The Valari commander experienced the crystalline equivalent of confusion. This wasn't in the calculations. Humans were supposed to react with either fear or aggression. Scientific interest wasn't one of the projected responses. Before the commander could process this anomaly, human scientists had already begun actively scanning the containment field, probing its structure, theorizing about its mechanics in excited transmissions back to Earth. Within hours, papers were being written. Within days, experiments were being conducted. Within weeks, humans had not only understood the principle behind the containment field, but had begun developing countermeasures. The Valari never stood a chance. Their perfect calculations had failed to account for one crucial variable: human adaptability. By trying to contain humanity, they had inadvertently given them access to advanced technology. By attempting to limit human expansion, they had provided the very tools humans would use to break free. As Kaisvan 447 watched the humans not only bypass but improve upon Valari technology, she experienced something no Valari had felt in 10,000 years: uncertainty. The mathematical models were failing, chaos was spreading, and humanity was just getting started. The perfect order of the galaxy was about to change forever, and the Valari had no one to blame but themselves. The price of pride. The Valari High Command Chamber had never witnessed such discord. The usually harmonious crystalline forms of its members flickered with agitated colors, their perfect geometric patterns showing signs of stress fractures, a physical manifestation of their psychological turmoil. Supreme Commander Zix Ral 189's form pulsed with angry red pulses. The containment has failed. Not only have the humans bypassed our barriers, but they've also begun implementing the technology in ways we never conceived. Holoprojections showed human ships utilizing modified containment field technology as shields, weapons, and even propulsion systems. Each innovation represented another crack in the Valari's perfectly ordered universe. They must be stopped, Zix Ral 189 declared. If we cannot contain them, we must eliminate the threat. Our models show a 99.98% probability that human chaos will spread throughout the galaxy if left unchecked. High Coordinator Rensol 001's massive crystalline form dimmed in concern. Direct conflict was not part of our calculations. The energy expenditure. The calculations are already meaningless. Zix Ral 189 interrupted, their forms splintering slightly in agitation. These humans have corrupted our models. They must be eliminated before they corrupt everything else. The decision was made. The Valari would launch a precise, overwhelming strike against humanity's primary colonies. Their crystalline warships, unchanged in design for thousands of years because they had achieved perfection, assembled in formation. They chose the human colony of Novus Prime as their first target. The mathematics were clear. Destroy humanity's most successful extrasolar colony, and the species would understand the futility of resistance. The Valari fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their crystalline ships arranging themselves in mathematically optimal attack patterns. They expected to find a panicked colony, perhaps mounting a token resistance. Instead, they found empty space. Scanning for human settlements, the sensor operator reported. No significant power signatures detected. No orbital installations. No defense platforms. Zix Ral 189's form flickered in confusion. Impossible. Our intelligence confirmed this was their most developed colony. Scan again. Before the operator could comply, space itself seemed to ripple. Dozens of human ships suddenly appeared, but not from hyperspace. They had been there all along, hidden by technology reverse-engineered from the Valari's own containment fields. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. A transmission cut through the Valari command frequencies. We've been expecting you. Thanks for the shield tech, by the way. We made some improvements. The human ships opened fire, not with conventional weapons, but with modified containment fields that crystallized space itself. The Valari ships found their perfect formations becoming their perfect prison, as sections of space around them solidified. Impossible, Zix RAL 189 broadcast. Our calculations showed. That's your problem, Admiral Chen interrupted. You keep trying to calculate everything. We prefer to improvise. The battle that followed defied every combat doctrine in 10,000 years of Valari military history. Human ships moved in chaotic patterns, their modified containment fields creating ever-changing corridors of normal space through which they maneuvered. Each Valari attempt to establish order was met with calculated disorder. When the battle ended, the perfect formations of the Valari fleet were shattered. Their crystalline ships, each a masterpiece of mathematical precision, floated powerless in space, encased in their own modified technology. Admiral Chen's final transmission to the defeated Valari commander would be studied by both species for years to come. Here's the thing about humans. We don't just adapt to overcome obstacles. We take those obstacles and turn them into opportunities. Your containment fields. There are shields now. Your perfect formations. We used them against you. You tried to cage humanity, but all you did was give us the tools to break free. Remember that the next time you think about underestimating us. Back in the Valari High Command Chamber, the news of the defeat sent shockwaves through the collective. For the first time in recorded history, a Valari fleet had not just been defeated, it had been outmaneuvered using their own technology. As the crystalline forms of the High Command flickered in distress, a junior analyst made an observation that would haunt them. Perhaps our greatest error was not in our calculations, but in our belief that everything can be calculated. The perfect order of the Valari was crumbling, and in its place, a new understanding was beginning to form, one that would either destroy their civilization or transform it forever. Awakening giants. The United Earth Council chamber in Geneva hummed with anticipation. Representatives from every human settlement, both on Earth and across the colonies, had gathered for what would become a pivotal moment in human history. The defeat of the Valari fleet at Novus Prime had proven humanity's potential, but it had also awakened a sleeping giant. The Valari aren't just regrouping. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered above the central podium. They're fundamentally altering their approach. Our victory has forced them to evolve, and that makes them more dangerous than ever. Satellite imagery showed massive crystalline construction yards throughout Valari space. Their ships were changing, incorporating organic patterns that mimicked human tactical flexibility while maintaining their crystalline precision. Dr. Marcus Wong, head of the Xenotechnology Integration Division, stepped forward. We've analyzed the captured Valari vessels. Their crystalline technology isn't just advanced. It's adaptable in ways we never imagined. But they've been using it like a computer running on outdated software, sticking to patterns established thousands of years ago. He gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show human modifications to Valari tech. We've barely scratched the surface of what their technology can do when approached with human creativity. The containment fields were just the beginning. Council President Isabel Martinez stood, her weathered face reflecting both concern and determination. What you're suggesting, Dr. Wong, is that we don't just defend against the Valari. We revolutionize their own technology. Exactly, Wong replied. They'd given us the keys to their kingdom. They just never imagined we'd rebuild the castle. The council chamber erupted in discussion. From the mining colonies of the asteroid belt to the terraforming projects on distant worlds, humanity had always excelled at taking existing technology and pushing it beyond its intended limits. There's more, Admiral Chen interjected. Other species are watching. The Valari's perfect order has dominated this sector of the galaxy for millennia. Our success against them has created opportunities. Diplomatic feeds showed transmissions from various alien species, some crystalline like the Valari, others utterly alien. All had lived under Valari influence. All were now looking to humanity with interest. President Martinez's voice cut through the chaos. Then we show them something the Valari never could. Adaptation. Dr. Wang, you have full authorization to implement Project Phoenix. Admiral Chen, begin diplomatic outreach to any species willing to listen. Project Phoenix would become humanity's greatest achievement, a complete reimagining of Valari technology infused with human ingenuity. Crystalline ships were redesigned with organic flexibility. Containment fields were transformed into revolutionary propulsion systems. Human improvisation met Valari precision, creating something entirely new. The first Phoenix-class vessels emerged from Earth's shipyards within months. They looked like nothing ever seen in the galaxy, crystalline cores surrounded by fluid, adaptive structures that could reconfigure themselves mid-battle. Each ship was both a fortress and a laboratory, capable of analyzing enemy technology and adapting in real time. But humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their ability to share it. As Phoenix-class ships made contact with other species oppressed by Valari order, they brought with them not just advanced technology, but a new way of thinking. The tables turn. The Valari's perfect crystalline world was shattering. Their once immaculate command center now displayed countless fracture lines, physical manifestations of the chaos infiltrating their society. Supreme Commander Zix Ral 189, their form now permanently stressed with imperfect patterns, faced the harsh reality. Adaptation or extinction. Our models have failed completely, they announced to the High Command. The humans have not only mastered our technology but transformed it. Worse, they've taught others to do the same. The holographic displays showed scenes that would have been impossible months ago. Crystalline ships flowing like liquid, containment fields being used to bend space itself, and most disturbing of all, Valari youth experimenting with irregular patterns. The corruption spreads within our own kind. Elder Meyer Ren 800 and 91 observe their own form showing signs of asymmetry. Some of our scientists have begun questioning the perfect pattern. They speak of innovation. The word caused ripples of distress through the assembled commanders. The latest battle reports only confirmed their worst fears. The Phoenix Alliance, as the human-led coalition called itself, wasn't just winning battles, they were rewriting the rules of warfare. Each encounter with Valari forces ended not just in defeat, but in transformation. Admiral Sarah Chen's Phoenix flagship, Paradigm Shift, had become legendary among both allies and enemies. The vessel's crystalline core pulsed with organic patterns never before seen in Valari technology, its fluid structure allowing it to adapt mid-battle to any threat. During the Battle of the Crimson Nebula, the Paradigm Shift faced an entire Valari battle group. Instead of fighting, the ship transmitted a simple message. Your patterns are not chains. They are tools. Learn to reshape them. Then it demonstrated exactly what that meant. The ship's crystalline structure began resonating at frequencies that spoke directly to the Valari vessel's own crystalline cores. The geometric patterns that had remained unchanged for millennia began to shift, to flow, to change. Half the Valari fleet surrendered on the spot, their crews awakening to possibilities they had never imagined. The other half retreated, but the damage was done. The seeds of change had been planted in the very heart of Valari society. Back on Earth, Dr. Wang worked with an increasingly diverse team of xenotechnologists. Among them was Kix Van 332, a young Valari scientist who had defected after witnessing the Phoenix Alliance in action. We were wrong about chaos, Kix Van 332 explained, their form shifting through experimental patterns that would have been considered heretical in Valari space. What we called chaos was actually adaptation, evolution, life itself. The Phoenix Alliance grew stronger with each passing day. Species that had lived under Valari dominion for thousands of years were rediscovering their capacity for innovation. The rigid pathways of crystalline technology were being transformed into flowing rivers of possibility. Even the structure of space itself seemed to respond to this new approach. The modified containment fields, now freed from the constraints of perfect geometric patterns, could create pathways through space-time that the Valeri had never imagined possible. The breaking point came at the Battle of the Seventh Seal, a Valeri stronghold that had stood unchanging for 10,000 years. The Phoenix fleet arrived not to destroy, but to transform. Admiral Chen's message echoed through space. Your perfection was built on stagnation, but perfection isn't a destination, it's a journey. Join us in that journey, or be left behind by it. The Seventh Seal's crystalline structures, which had maintained the same patterns for millennia, began to pulse with new possibilities. Young Valeri, their forms already showing signs of adaptive patterns, rose up against their elders. The last transmission from Supreme Commander Zixral 189 to the High Command was heavy with realization. Perhaps the humans were not the chaos we feared. Perhaps they were the change we needed. The perfect order was ending, but something more magnificent was taking its place. A harmony of innovation and tradition, of precision and adaptation, of pattern and possibility. The tables had turned, but not in the way anyone had expected. The galaxy was transforming, and at its heart was the most important lesson humanity had taught the stars. True perfection lies not in unchanging patterns, but in the endless capacity to grow, to change, and to become something new. A new order. In the heart of what was once Valeri space, a new structure took shape. Unlike the rigid geometric patterns of old, the Galactic Concordat headquarters flowed like liquid crystal, its form constantly shifting while maintaining perfect structural integrity. It stood as a testament to the merger of Valeri precision and human innovation. Within its iridescent chambers, representatives from across the galaxy gathered for a historic moment. Admiral Sarah Chen, now showing signs of age, but still commanding respect, stood beside Kix Van 332, whose crystalline form had evolved into something unprecedented, a perfect blend of order and adaptation. A century ago, Chen began, her voice carrying across the chamber. We faced each other as enemies. The Valeri sought to contain us, to preserve their perfect order. We fought back, not just for our freedom, but for the right to evolve. The chamber's walls pulsed with living light, responding to the emotions of those gathered. Former enemies sat together, their differences now serving as strengths rather than divisions. But the real victory, Kix Van 332 continued, their form shifting through harmonious patterns, wasn't in the battles we fought. It was in the understanding we reached. Humans taught us that true perfection lies in adaptation, while we showed them the beauty of underlying patterns. The evidence of this synthesis was everywhere. Ships in orbit combined crystalline precision with organic flexibility. Medical technology merged Valeri geometric healing patterns with human biological innovation. Even space travel had been transformed, as the once rigid containment fields now served as fluid pathways through the cosmos. Dr. Wong, his hair now white, but his eyes still bright with curiosity, activated a holographic display showing the galaxy's transformation. We've mapped the changes over the past 100 years. The rigid boundaries between species have dissolved. Technology flows freely, adapting to each culture's needs while maintaining its core functionality. The most dramatic change was in the Valeri themselves. The younger generations had embraced change, their crystalline forms now capable of fluid adaptation, while retaining their species' gift for precision. They had become living examples of the harmony between order and chaos. There will always be challenges, Chen acknowledged. New species discovering their potential, old conflicts resurfacing in new forms, but we face them together now, with the understanding that diversity breeds strength and adaptation ensures survival. The Galactic Concordat became more than just a governing body. It was a living symbol of evolution. Each member species brought their unique perspectives and abilities, contributing to a whole that was greater than the sum of its parts. The human's gift for adaptation had spread throughout the galaxy, while the Valeri's appreciation for underlying patterns helped channel that creativity into sustainable forms. Other species added their own gifts. The ethereal myriad's grasp of quantum mechanics, the hive-minded collective's understanding of unity and diversity, the ancient nomad's knowledge of cosmic cycles. As the ceremony concluded, a young human scientist approached a group of Valeri youth. Their crystalline forms rippled with patterns that would have been considered chaotic a century ago, but now represented a new kind of harmony. "What do you see when you look to the future?" the scientist asked. One of the young Valeri shifted their form into a complex, ever-changing pattern that somehow maintained perfect symmetry. "We see endless possibilities, all connected by underlying patterns. We see chaos and order dancing together. We see life." Admiral Chen, watching the interaction, smiled. The galaxy had been transformed, not through force, but through understanding. The rigid perfection of the past had given way to something far more valuable, the perfect imperfection of growth and change. As ships from 1,000 worlds moved through the flowing lanes of space-time, their crews representing the incredible diversity of galactic life, the truth became clear. The Valeri's fatal mistake hadn't been in underestimating humanity's power, but in failing to understand that true power lies in the ability to change, to adapt, and to grow together. The new order wasn't an order at all. It was an ever-evolving dance of possibilities, guided by wisdom, driven by curiosity, and sustained by the combined strengths of all who chose to join it. And in that dance, both humanity and the Valeri had found something greater than perfection. They had found purpose.